Hi guys, Chef Josh G here. Today I'm going to show how I maintain my sourdough starter. There's a common misconception, I think, with sourdough that it wastes a lot of flour, or that you have to waste a lot of starter every time that you make a bread or whatever you're making. And I know there's a lot of great recipes for what you can do with the discard, but that's not always like suitable for everyone. And so I just wanted to show another way that I approach it and just try and make it so I don't really have any waste to begin with, and then how I hold it after that. So here I have my sourdough starter. Okay, this starter is about 5 years old. I started it with organic rye. I'm going to do another video and I'll show exactly how to make your starter. But for right now, I have this starter, which is not very active. You can see it has some bubbles in there. I fed this a few days ago, but then used it and it did get left out as well. Normally, I'll store it in the refrigerator. But what I'm going to take is I'm going to take 20 grams of this starter. The reason that I'm going to take 20 grams is because I'm going to use triple that by weight. So I have 60 grams here of water, and I have 60 grams here of organic white flour. And so I'm going to go 3-to-1 on my ratio. And then that's going to give me 120 grams to make my next bread or my next batch of pizza dough. And then I still have 20 grams remaining, which I can make my next batch of starter with. Okay, so I'm just going to take mix them together. This is very, very straightforward. So I'll just weigh out my 20 grams here. Hopefully I have 20 grams left here. It's almost right on the dot. There we go, 20 grams. This is just tap water, okay? And then organic flour. So this is organic local white flour. I'll talk a little bit more about flour when I make another video about how you can start your own sourdough starter. But for right now, basically once it's active, you can use any type of flour to feed it. And that may change based on the type of bread that you're making, okay? So right now I've mixed this in fairly well. I'm going to leave this on the counter for about, let's say, based on the temperature inside of here right now, I'm going to say about 4 hours. And that may change based on your environment at home or in your restaurant. So that could be anywhere from basically 2.5 or 3 hours to anywhere up to like 5.5 or 6 hours. Okay, so I'm going to put a lid on this, but I'm not going to seal it. I'm going to still leave it like a little bit cracked, just so it's not airtight sort of thing. And then this is what I'm left with remaining for starter. So you can see this is maybe 10 grams or 15 grams left of starter, and that's it. Okay. And I'll show you the starter when it is fully activated, and then what the process is from there. Okay, it's been about 4.5 hours, and the starter is looking pretty good. So what we are looking for might be hard to see. Actually, you should be able to kind of see there. You can see how it's bubbled up. It's increased in volume, and actually, when you put it in something clear too, you can see the air bubbles on the side of it, okay? And it feels nice and light. It doesn't work with every flour. For instance, rye flour is quite low in gluten, so it's maybe not the best one to, best example of. But with this, we're using bread flour. So if we take some and just drop it into we have some cold water here, it should float. And that's going to be a good indication that it's good and active, okay? And yeah, if you can see, there's floating in our water there. So what we're going to do now, I'm either going to use this at this point, or I'm going to put it in the fridge until I am ready to use it. The longest that I really want to hold this in the fridge is maybe 2 days. After that, I feel like it starts to, the gluten starts to weaken and maybe is not the best, and is also just not quite as active, so I might not get it quite as light of a bread as I would if it was slightly more active. Okay, so after I use it too, so I make my bread and then I end up with my 20 grams left, I have two options. I can either then take it and feed it again, and if I'm going to use it in the next couple of days, that's what I would do, and then put it in the fridge active and ready to go. Or if I don't plan on using it in the next couple of days, I would just leave the 20 grams in the fridge. And actually, even for a couple of weeks, that should be fine. If I'm going to leave it for an extended period of time, I definitely would feed it and then put it in the fridge active. Okay, so yeah, that's how to maintain your sourdough starter and not really have any waste, and then also to be able to feed it less frequently. Hope that helps.